Good morning. Well, the Sweaty Summer Series continues, and we are here on the orange blazes of the Florida National Scenic Trail at Atonia Creek State Forest. And we're going to probably be doing somewhere around 10 miles today. I've been on this part of the trail before, but it's kind of a unique story. I was hiking with my buddy Brian, and we were doing about 12 or 15 miles heading northbound, and I made a bad mistake and did not filter water about 3 miles south of here. And by the time we got up here, I was hurting for certain. Luckily, I was hiking with a buddy who helped me out, but I didn't get to enjoy this piece of the trail because I was suffering bad from lack of water and dehydration. So I figured, well, I want to get on the Florida Trail for National Trail Days, which today is, and I wanted to be on one of the National Scenic Trails, and this is one of them, Florida Trail. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along the trail, but I thought, where should I go that's not too far away? This is pretty close to home for me, and see a part of the trail that I really didn't get a chance to enjoy last time. Remember, especially in the summer in Florida, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. All right, well, it looks like we had a control burn through here not too long ago, and let's get cruising down the trail, and we'll talk about the 11 National Scenic Trails as we go through our day today. Let's get going on here. So let's it's summertime. Spider webs are all over me again. It's crazy. Let's talk about the Florida Trail. The Florida National Scenic Trail was designated a National Scenic Trail in 1983. 1,500 miles long from the Everglades up to the Panhandle. And you guys have watched me hike. You've seen me do from Ocala up to the western edge of Swanee, which I'm not sure how many miles that is, several hundred, but 1,500 miles long. It is a fantastic trail, and as we go through, I'm going to talk about hikers that I've watched who've done on YouTube, have posted really cool stuff. I would say a real advocate of the Florida Trail is Dixie, or Jessica, from Homemade Wanderlust. If you watch her Florida Trail hike, it's a really good one. And also a more recent one would be Kelly Hayes from Kelly Hayes Hikes. She did one more recently too. And then one person who's done all of the National Scenic Trails, and he has documented most of them, hasn't been on much lately, is Constantine from Hiking America. Constantine's hike on the Florida Trail is pretty cool too. He came through on a flooded year, so it's really interesting. But just some hikers that you could watch hike the Florida Trail besides the sections that I've done. So anyway, Florida National Scenic Trail, highly recommended. Really beautiful trail. Let's get going, and we'll talk about the rest along the way. Spider webs. All right, let's talk about the big boy. Probably the most famous National Scenic Trail is the Appalachian Trail, which as of 2024 was 2,190 miles, going through 14 states, another spider web, and from Georgia to Maine. And someone who would be great to watch on the Appalachian Trail are currently on it right now, and that is the Six-Pack Hikers. Mom, dad, and 4 kids doing the trail together. And they are right now currently up, I think, in New York, and working their way north. But any of the hikers that I mentioned earlier will be great to watch on that trail too. I've done some small parts of the Appalachian Trail. I've hiked in the Presidentials up in New Hampshire, and a little bit in Georgia and the Carolinas, but not a whole lot of it. So anyway, the Appalachian Trail, it's one of the Triple Crown, the Appalachian Trail, the Pacific Crest Trail, and the Continental Divide Trail. And a woman named Pegleg, who's Madison Blagden, is doing the Triple Crown this year in a calendar 365 days. And I think she's striving to be the first woman to do the Triple Crown in a year. And she's currently, not sure where she is. I think she got Knocked off the AT because she was too early and it was too much snow up north, and I think she's currently on the PCT, Pacific Crest Trail. But a couple of people to watch. Appalachian Trail. That's for a lot of people's first through hikes. Major achievement. Definitely a cool trail. Let's keep walking. It sure is pretty. But lots of spiders today. All right, let's talk about the next one on the Triple Crown. The Pacific Crest Trail is 2,650 miles from Mexico to Canada. And it goes through the high Sierras. It is a really, really cool trail. I haven't been on it, but it's a really cool trail as I've watched other hikers on it. Currently on the Pacific Crest Trail, Liz Kidder, handstands, is doing that. And if you go on Liz Kidder, you'll find her there. Phenomenal YouTuber, does fantastic work, and gives you real life on the trail. You can also see Liz's video on the Appalachian Trail too, but the PCT is a really cool trail. And if you want to see some old guys doing the PCT, hiking with codgers, a couple of old farts about my age, did it last year, did most of it last year. They got knocked off because of weather and fire, I think, but I think they're back out on it now. But the PCT, imagine walking from Mexico to Canada. What a cool thing. All right, let's keep hiking. Ooh, we're out of the trees, it's getting warm. Let's talk about the third one on the Triple Crown. The Continental Divide Trail is 3,100 miles. It also goes from Mexico to Canada, right up the middle of the country. Now, as far as folks to watch on that, I mentioned earlier Constantine from Hiking America. He hasn't been posting anything for a couple of years. However, he was the youngest person ever to complete all 11 National Scenic Trails. I don't remember how old he was when he finished, but he did all 11 of them. And I don't think his Appalachian Trail hike is on there, but for all of these trails, if you want to see a really in-depth and unique perspective on hiking the National Scenic Trails, definitely Constantine from Hiking America, someone to watch. It's really pretty out here, but it's getting a little toasty. Let's get walking. All right. Let's talk about the big one, the North Country Trail. 4,800 miles, you got that right, from North Dakota to Vermont. The only person that I've seen that has posted a hike on this, again, is Constantine from Hiking America. And actually, he and his partner, Magpie, did the fastest known time on that trail. I don't remember how many days it was, but it was ridiculously fast. I mean, they were doing like 50 and 60 mile days. So anyway, very cool trail. Kind of a connection of a bunch of trails, but can you imagine hiking 4,800 miles straight from Vermont to North Dakota? Holy guacamole. And there's talk of extending it from coast to coast. We'll see. But anyway, that's the next one on the list of National Scenic Trails. And by the way, on some of these smaller trails, I'm not even going to mention hikers on it. Again, if you want to see all of them, Constantine is a resource for that. I don't know of anyone else that has all of them on their YouTube, but on most of the other ones, I really don't know people who have actually hiked them. So, although I've seen, clips of them and stuff. Thank God. We're heading back into the woods. This trail in Etonia Creek State Forest is super nice, and I'm really enjoying it this time. All right, let's talk about the Ice Age Trail. 1,200 miles entirely in Wisconsin. I didn't know. And a lot of cool geology. That's called the Ice Age Trail because it cruises around a lot of rocks and stuff that have been carved by glaciers and everything. So Ice Age Trail in Wisconsin, pretty cool. Let's keep hiking. So one of our National Scenic Trails with a lot of history is the Potomac Heritage Trail, 710 miles up in the area around Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia. It even goes by Mount Vernon, so that's pretty cool. So the Potomac Heritage Trail cruises along the Potomac River Basin, so it mixes in natural beauty and as well as history. And the cool thing about that trail is there are hiking, biking, and kayaking or canoeing options along that trail, so that's kind of a cool thing. But as a foot trail, 710 miles around kind of the foundations of our nation, so that's kind of cool. All right, let's head back south to one of the shorter trails, a 60-mile Natchez Trace Trail, which is in Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee. And it's kind of cool. It goes back even further, tracing back the history and following trails of the natives who lived here before Westerners came. So pretty cool trail, the Natchez Trace Trail. And yeah, back down south in Alabama. I don't know if anyone's hiking that right now, as hot as it is. Some of us are crazy to hike in the summer, but you know, there's not a lot of us. It sure is a little toasty today, but really fun and kind of cool thinking about and talking about all these awesome National Scenic Trails. All right, let's talk about the Arizona Trail. A lot of people have hiked this trail from Mexico to Utah. It's 800 miles. And a couple of cool things about the Arizona Trail. You're in the desert and the mountains, so water is definitely an issue, so something that people have to keep in mind. And also, I think most of the Arizona Trail is horse friendly, so it's a completely different type of hiking for hikers because horses need a little bit more forgiving trails than human beings. So from what I've heard and people I've seen on the Arizona Trail, it's, I don't want to say easier, but you know, a little less aggressive hiking. And guess what? You're on the Arizona Trail. You get to go hike around the Grand Canyon, so that's pretty freaking cool. So the Arizona Trail, if it's not on your bucket list, maybe it needs to be. All right, let's keep going. All right, let's cool off and head back north. 215 miles long. The New England Scenic Trail goes through Connecticut and Massachusetts. Again, some unique things about this trail. It does go through a lot of ancient native areas, as well as it's relatively close to urban areas, so resupply and things like that are apparently pretty easy on that trail. I haven't watched much of it, but you know, if you're up there in the cities, there's no excuse. You can get out in the woods and spend some time on the New England National Scenic Trail. All right, so hope you're enjoying our little list countdown of the 11 National Scenic Trails. The Pacific Northwest Trail, to me, is kind of one of the more intriguing ones. It goes from Montana to the Pacific Coast, the Olympia Mountains or Olympia State Forest Coast. And so you're going over the Rocky Mountains, you're going through Washington's rainforest, and then you're on the beautiful coastline of Washington State. What else could you want, right? So anyway, that's it. That's number 11. Just a quick recap. So make sure you get out there and check out all the trails. If you can't go hike them, why not hike along with someone else? There's a lot of YouTubers out there doing cool stuff. I mentioned a few, and I'll put their links down in the description of this video. So let's cruise along the rest of this little hike through Atonia Creek State Forest and we'll wrap it up at the end. Okay folks, well that's about it. Hope you enjoyed our little hike here in Atonia Creek State Forest. What a beautiful forest. I highly recommend it. And I'm not sure which chapter of the Florida Trail Association takes care of this forest. I think it's Black Bear. If it's not, I apologize whoever else, but they take care of it. And it's really, you know, a lot of the Florida Trail is not maintained in the summer, but in my experience here has been this trail has been pretty well maintained all the time. Beautiful forest, beautiful trail, and thank you to all the trail maintainers out there on all 11 of the National Scenic Trails. I hope you enjoyed hearing a little bit about the 11 National Scenic Trails. Some people didn't even know they exist, you know, and if you get a chance, check out some of those hikers that will show you exactly what life is like on those trails through hiking them. But it's time to start heading back to the car, and I really enjoyed being out on the trail today. I hope you enjoy your next trip on the trail. Until we see you then, happy trails everybody. Bye-bye.